Praise thy holy name, Father. Let your holiness and righteousness come forth on this Sabbath night in your holy name, in your holy name. Let us know that you are the one and only God, Yahweh. And let us know that Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, paid that price for us. Amen. I felt led to come tonight, and I want to thank people that come and answered my question. They know just about as much as I know about whether the Ark of the Covenant was in the Second Temple. Secrets and mysteries of God sometimes are beyond our reasoning, sometimes beyond our understanding. Though we think we may know most of the answers, but when it gets right down to the nitty-gritty of things, we know nothing without Him. And I felt led to speak on Job. Job was a man that truly feared God. And he prayed all the time and sacrificed for his children, that even if they sin, they be forgiven. And he lived such a life that it caught the eye of God. So when Satan came up with the congregation before God, and God asked him about Job, Satan kind of did a poof thing, you know. Yeah, right, you got a hedge around him, you're protecting him, look at him, you blessed him in everything. Nah. And you tell me he is perfect? You know, what are you proving to me? So, God had to, excuse me, need my Coke. That is Diet Coke, people. Please. I know some people would like to take that out of context, but it's Diet Coke. But anyway, Satan kind of threw down the gauntlet and gave God a challenge. And God picked up the gauntlet because he believed and knew that Job would be faithful to him. So he said, okay, you know, you can put forth your hand. You can take these things away from him, but you can't touch his life. So in this, Job lost all of his goods. He lost all of his cattle. He lost all of the things that, you know, the sheep, his servants were consumed. His cattle was taken. I mean, you know, everything was taken from him just like that. People come and say, your cattle's gone, your sheep's gone, your camels are gone. And then another one runs up and says, oh my, by the way, your sons and daughters were eating at the oldest brother's house, and a strong wind came along out of the wilderness and smit the four corners of the house and caused it to collapse on them. So what does Job do? Does he rant and rave and curse God? Does he say, "Why me, Lord? Why me? Why did you do this to me? Why, oh why, oh why?" No. Job arose and he rent his clothes because he was in sorrow. He just learned that not only did he lose everything financially, he lost his children, and he was grieved. And he shaved his head, and he fell on the ground and worshiped. Did he curse God? No, he worshiped God. And he said, "Naked come I out of my mother's womb, naked shall I return thither. The Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." And all this Job sinned not, nor challenged God foolishly. But the slightest thing happens to us, and we start going, "Why me, God? Why me, God?" Well, I remembered this story whenever I found out what my ex-husband did, and I was leaving the place with my two children, and I began to cry. And in my mind, I began to see myself like Yeshua said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And that was my prayer about my ex-husband. "Forgive him, Father, for he knows not what he does." My animals. But anyway, Job didn't sin. And this is what prompted me when I was driving along and I was thinking, Father, I could ask why me. But I had also heard from another place, this person said, "Well, why not me? Am I better than other people? Am I more important than other people that things shouldn't touch my life? That I should be so protected nothing happens in my life that destroys it?" So Job worshiped God instead of getting angry and bitter and saying, "Why me? And why did you do this to me?" He worshiped. To the point again when Satan come up before God with the congregation again, God, hey, he points it out to Satan. He says, "How about my man Job? He, you've done all this stuff to him and he hasn't cursed me yet." So Satan gives him another challenge, saying, "You're still protecting him. You still have a hedge around him, but skin for skin, yet all that is man hath will he give for his life. So, but put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face." Satan was really challenging God on this. He's saying, so he lost everything, and so he lost his children. But if you touch his body, he will curse you. So God, looks at him and said, "Well, he's in your hands, but save his life. You can't have his life." So Satan comes down and smites Job with sores, boils from the soles of his head to the crown of his feet. And, and it was so bad that even his wife, she looks out and she says, "Why don't you just curse God and die? I mean, my goodness, you've lost everything. You look horrendous. I mean, you're..." And so Job just looks at her and says, "Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What, shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall not receive evil? In all these days not Job sinned with his lips." No. But in a way, Satan wasn't through yet. Everything of Job's was gone, all but his wife that finally said, "You need to curse God and die," which was no help. But then he sends along 3 of Job's very good friends. Tell you the truth, with friends like that, who needs enemies? Because they were continuously giving him a speech about, you had to do something. This is all your fault. Doesn't that sound a lot like what goes on in the churches nowadays? If something happens to you, it's like with my example. When I left my home and took my children to a safe place, and I went to my church and I was asking for prayer and for understanding, sort of like Job's friends, it is all your fault, Barbara. That's exact words they said. It's all your fault, Barbara. If you'd been really living for God like you said you was, he wouldn't have done this. It is your fault. You've sinned, Barbara, that brought this on you, brought this curse on you. And I could remember the brokenness, the brokenhearted, when my very best friends, and they were the leaders of the church also, but these people that was saying this to me were my very best friends. Me and the woman had traveled many places, ministering many places together, seen extraordinary things happening, but yet she sat there and looked in my face and said, "Barbara, it is all your fault. Because if you'd truly been living for God, he wouldn't have let this happen." So here, in any time something really bad happens in your life, if you've noticed that you always have these people that you think are your friends, that you think that will stand by you, and here they come trotting along, and somehow or another they'll twist it and turn it and make it your fault. And this happens a lot in the church. And why do people leave the church broken and destroyed? Because there are people in church that are just like Job's 3 friends. Ready to stand there and put you down. Ready to tell you, "Oh, if you do this, this is a sin and you're going to go to hell. If you do that, that's breaking it all. This, you can't do that and go to heaven." So they're putting their judgment on you because maybe you made a mistake. Or maybe your loved one in your family did something, and they're going to bring it back and slam it in your face, and they're going to accuse you of all things. They're going to accuse you. They're going to make you the scapegoat, because that's what Job's friends was trying to make of him, a scapegoat. Because they couldn't understand why this man of God and God favored and was so righteous and was so powerful and so rich would lose everything in a few seconds, even his family, and then turn around and be covered with boils from the top of his head to the soles of his feet. In their mind, in their mindset, Job, it was all Job's fault. All Job's fault. But in all this, Job did not sin. And all of this, I'm going to read chapter 19. Job was responding to Bildad, which was how, was saying, how long will it be ere you make a end of words? Mock, and afterwards we will speak. Wherefore are we counted as beasts, and repeated vile in your sight? So, see, he's really giving Job down the road. And he goes on and says a whole bunch of other things, that his feet was caught in the net, and his own snares, and Job tripped his own self up. God caught him in it, and that's why things was happening. But this is what Job said to him in a response. Then Job answered and said, how long will you vex my soul and break me in pieces with words? And that's exactly what happens. That's exactly what happened to me. That's exactly what happened to many that has left the church and no longer believe in a God, no longer want to live in a righteous way, because they're broken, because they have been broken by words. Let's go on. Thus 10 times have you reproached me. You are not ashamed that you make yourself strong to me. And be it indeed that I have erred, my error remains with myself. So he says, indeed, I have erred, and my error remains myself. If indeed you will magnify yourselves against me, and that's what people do. That's what my friend did to me and the others. That's what so many people have done, even to my own husband, criticizing, belittling, saying this is a sin, that's a sin, instead of trying to hold him up and say, I'm here to comfort you, I'm here. Well, Job's friends was there to comfort him, but what did they do? They tore him down. If indeed ye magnify yourselves against me and plead against me my reproach, know now that God hath overthrown me and hath compressed me with his net. I mean, Job is saying, I realize this. I realize this. I see it. I'm living it. Behold, I cry out of wrong, but I am not heard. I cry aloud, but there is no judgment. And he says, I lift my voice to God and I cry to him, but my prayers are not heard, and there is no judgment that comes. He hath fenced up my ways that I cannot pass, and he has set darkness in my path. See, Job realizes, he knows. He has stripped me of my glory and taken the crown from my head. He's taken everything. He had destroyed me on every side, and I am gone. My whole path he removed like a tree. It's all gone. He hath also kindled his wrath against me, and he counteth me unto him as one of his enemies. He's saying God is counting me as one of his enemies in all of this. His troops come together and rise up their ways against me, and encamp round about my tabernacle. He hath put my brethren far from me, and my acquaintance are very estranged from me. Everybody was leaving him. Everybody but his 3 friends that sat there and that was supposed to be comfort him, that was tearing down with their words. My kinfolk have failed. My family, friends have forgotten me. They that dwell in mine house, my maids, count me for a stranger. I am an alien in their sight. I call my servants, and he give me no answer. I entreat him with my mouth. And, he says, come here, come here. And his servants just walk on by, just like he's a nobody, like he's nothing. My breath is strange to my wife, though I entreated for the children's sake of my own body. Even his breath for his children, for his wife, to his wife, is just stranger. Even though she was the mother of his children, won't have nothing to do with him. She's already told him, you need to curse God and die. Yea, young children despise me. I rise, and they speak against me. Even the children of the place around, the town around, speak against him. Everybody was turned against Job. Everybody. All my inward friends abhorred me, and they whom I loved are turned against me. He says, everyone I loved, everyone I cherished as friends, you guys are sitting there and you're supposed to be comforting me, and yet your words are tearing me down and tearing me apart. I know what's happened in my life. I know I've lost anything. I know I'm wretched, I'm poor. I know that I have sores from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, and I'm sitting here in sackcloth and ashes, and my prayers aren't even being answered, and I ask for judgment and it's not come. My bones cleave to my skin, to my flesh, and I am specked with the skin of my teeth, and I escape with the skin of my teeth. Can you look at him? He is a skeleton sitting there. A skeleton. Flesh just hanging off his body. He's a skeleton sitting there with all these boils. And he says, have pity upon me, have pity upon me, O ye my friends, for the hand of God has touched me. And instead of using your words to tear me down, have pity upon me. Why do you persecute me as God, and are not satisfied with my flesh? They were persecuting him. Oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book. He's saying they need to be printed. Then he goes on, that they were grieving with and that they were graven with an iron pen and laid in the rock forever. And this is what's profoundly that he says. For I know that my Redeemer liveth, that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth, and that after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see for myself. My eyes shall behold, and not another, though my runs be consumed with me in me. But ye should say, why persecute we him, seeing the root of the matter is found in me? Be ye afraid of the sword, for wrath bringeth the punishment of the sword. So he's telling them, be careful. Be careful. Be afraid of the sword, because what has come on me can come upon you, that ye may know there is a judgment. So he's saying, be careful what you're saying and doing, because those words that you're speaking about me can come back on you, and the same judgment on you. But there's one thing that Job knew, and I can testify today. For I know my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon this earth, and mine eyes, and though my flesh be down in that grave, and the worms eating the body, yet in my flesh I shall see him, see God. And when I shall see him for myself, mine eyes shall behold, and not another, though my runs be consumed upon me. When destruction, despair comes upon you, and all your friends and family turn their back upon you, when you have lost everything around you that you love, everything that has made your life comfortable, and when you have lost it all, and all your friends and your family and everything is turned against you, my question is, can you still say, I know that my Redeemer liveth? This is the Sabbath day message to you. Think about it. You may not have lost anything yet. You may have thought you have. But when you have lost it all and everyone turns against you, will you be able to say, I know my Redeemer liveth, and that he's coming back to earth, and that in my flesh, with mine eyes, I shall behold him? Father, in the name of Yeshua, put this message out to those that are downtrodden and brokenhearted, and let them know that you still stand by them. Though all else has gone wrong in their life, though they have lost much, and though all their family and though all their friends turn their back on them, that their Redeemer liveth, and that they need to give praise to him above all else. For he is our Redeemer. He is coming back to earth again. And we who believe in him and trust in him shall see him. Blessings in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach.